Welcome to the Journey to Esquire, the podcast Alumni Updates. I am your host, Abigail. In this series, we take a walk down memory lane as we reconnect with the remarkable alumni of the Journey to Esquire Scholarship and Leadership Program. Join me as we embark on a journey to discover where are they now? Amidst all the challenges and uncertainties, a group of determined individuals stepped into the Journey to Esquire Scholarship and Leadership Program, ready to seize their dreams of becoming legal professionals. Fast forward today, and it's time to catch up, to witness their journeys, celebrate their achievements, and gain insights into the valuable lessons they carry forward from the program. So, what's in store for this podcast series? Well, get ready to be inspired, intrigued, and enlightened. In each episode, I'll be sitting down with a remarkable alumnus or alumni, the trailblazers who embarked on their journeys to become legal professionals. We'll dive into their experiences, challenges, and triumphs, and explore how their participation in the Journey to Esquire program has played a pivotal role in shaping their paths. We'll reminisce about the highlights, uncover the pivotal moments, and get an inside look into their lives today. From courtroom victories to personal growth, from mentorship to forging lasting connections, these alumni have stories that resonate with all of us. Through their tales, we gain a greater understanding of the impact of education, scholarship, and leadership on their journeys. Hello, everyone. My name is Abigail Dean, and today I have the honor of being your host for the Journey to Esquire podcast. Today, we have a special guest, Denia Angelino.
Denia Angelino.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's Thursday. Can't wait for Friday.
Oh, absolutely. I thought today was Friday for a second.
I wish.
But can you tell us a little bit about your legal career since you evolved from the Journey to Esquire? Can you tell us a little bit about your year and the Journey to Esquire program, what year it was, your experience was with the program?
Yeah, so I joined the program 2020 to 2021. Then I graduated December 2020. And so that year I was with Journey to Esquire doing all the webinars and the events and really like connecting with the rest of my class, and everything pretty much like led to that presentation at the end, the graduation. And after that, I took the California bar in July 2021. I'm getting my years mixed up, but yes, 2021. And I passed on the first try, and I got my result November. And after I got my result, I started looking for places out in San Diego, California to move. That was my plan all along. And January of the following year, my family and I, we moved to San Diego. And originally my plan was to kind of hit the ground running, but once getting here and kind of getting adjusted, I decided to take some time off. And during that time, I was applying for my moral character and fitness to the California bar. I took the MPRE, and I had a part-time job. It wasn't stressful. It was working at an immigration law. Mm-hmm. And I focused a lot on just resting, which is weird. It was weird because I went like from K to JD. I never took a gap year, so I would call it my gap year. And it was very nice. I'm really happy that I did that. And January of this year, 2023, I got sworn in. So started the year strong. And now I am working at a firm based out of LA. My job is remote, so I can stay in San Diego, and I'm doing landlord tenant law on the plaintiff side, litigation stuff. And Yeah, it's just been a roller coaster of adjusting to new attorney life and the practice and the law firm. So a lot of adjustments, a lot of learning. It's been going by pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. I remember even back from law school, even my first year of law, out of law school and practicing and comparing the two and realizing that, wow, what we do in law school versus what we do in the real world, very drastically two different. So your first year is definitely going to be an adjustment where you're learning how to practice the specific area of law that you are basically doing because every area of law is different. Originally, did you want to do landlord tenant law? Like, how did you go about choosing this specific area of law to work in?
It really never crossed my radar. My original plan was and still is to become a prosecutor. During my gap year, I did a lot of networking to kind of get acclimated to the legal community out in San Diego, and I learned that it's a very competitive process to get into the prosecutor's office. And just this fall, they opened their application window to apply. So instead of basically taking what would have been 2 gap years, I just decided to jump in and get some experience until I had the opportunity to apply. It was through connecting with someone that I learned more about the job in the area of law. We met by chance on social media, and she actually went to the same elementary school I did, which is
Oh,
crazy because it's a very, very small neighborhood out of LA. And she like talked to me about the work she does, and it's mainly going against slumlords. So for me, it kind of aligned with my goals and my passions to help community. And so I was open to it. And so I joined her to kind of work with her and assisting her on with her cases. So I guess it's her team. So I joined her team. And yeah, it's been interesting.
so your long-term plan is to work as a prosecutor.
Yeah, I came out of law school not really knowing where I wanted to land. I just knew it was somewhere in civil rights law. And my plan was always to start out as a prosecutor and then eventually switch over to litigation and kind of do civil rights work or something along those lines. And I feel like I've had a lot of clarity this year, and I think that's still part of my plan. I'm not really setting like a time limit to like this is how many years I want to be here. It's more like I'm just kind of going based off what interests me, what I'm passionate about, and what I want to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now, I know you just started working as basically officially your first job this past year. What do you think were the most valuable lessons or skills that you gained during your time at the Journey to Esquire program that has had a significant impact on your career as an attorney?
There's been a lot of things. I would say the biggest one has been simply exposure to different types of law, different types of lawyers, understanding, I guess, how more of what the nature of the profession is, networking, how to kind of make those connections and find your community, like how helpful it is to find and have a community. I feel like yeah, the exposure was probably the biggest one for me because prior to that I didn't really have much exposure. I was just kind of keeping my head down and doing the work and being really busy, and I had externships here and there, but I feel like that was very narrow or specific to the area of that externship. And through Journey to Esquire, we met like a ton of different lawyers in the Tampa Bay area with different backgrounds, and I had like a better understanding of how you can start out in your career like way over here and then end up way over there and how no path really looks the same. And so that was kind of helpful to take some of the pressure off of feeling like it needs to be done a certain way or that there's one path to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
I think you noticed something very important, which is networking. I remember being at Stetson and they kept pushing that to us. They're like, listen, yes, working on the degree is great and getting your JD is great. But they told us even back then that a lot of the jobs that you're going to have in your career, or a lot of people's experiences in obtaining jobs, is through networking. It's because of who they know. So I definitely agree with you on that. It's great that you got that opportunity through the journey to Esquire and learn the importance of doing that. Because even you said earlier that the current job that you have is because you connected with someone else.
And I was so resistant to that. Like I in law school, I hated networking. Every time I would hear that, I would be like, nope, absolutely not. Like you're gonna catch me doing it a different way. But it kind of helped to go to some like volunteering events with friends. And then I feel like with Journey to Esquire, it was during the pandemic, so it was remote, but there was a lot of conversations with different attorneys, and I like through those conversations I kind of got a better understanding of what networking is really is. And now I see it more like you're connecting with other lawyers and other people, and you don't have to connect with every lawyer. You can, it's kind of like making friends. It's just weird when you're a law student because it's so foreign.
Yeah, especially if you're introverted. I'm introverted, and so it's a choice. Like
Yeah.
I remember going back, even now, when I go to different law events, I have to give myself a pep talk. Like, listen,
Yes.
engage, remember to get involved. At least I give myself a goal of at least meeting one person. Let me
Yes.
on one person because I know how I am and how, in large crowds, especially large crowds with people that I don't know, I tend to withdraw. But as you're saying, like it's something that it's need, like it's a need that can help you for the future, as in terms of your future job, but also if you need help, like
Yeah.
if you need an attorney who it's you doing landlord tenant law, like it's great to have a reference point that if you need help on an issue that you can call this individual and be comfortable enough and say, listen, I need help with this, can you help me?
Hmm.
Especially as an attorney, because while we're in that process, there's just a lot of things that we don't know. And
Yeah.
what better way to kind of help you along of your learning journey to be able to call somebody and say, can you give me some references, or can you lead me to a case or to a website that will help me better understand this issue that I'm having issues with?
Yeah. And I think even more so, it's even more so important as a first generation, which I feel like it's part of what makes it even harder, but it's important. Like for me, I feel like my mind has expanded, and as far as what I'm open to, what I learn through conversation. So that's kind of how I see it. Like I'm going to this event to make conversations, and I'm also an introvert. I get so much anxiety, but I kind of prepare beforehand, like what I'm gonna say, what I'm gonna be open about, how to respond to, like, I feel like the first thing people always ask is like, oh, what do you do? And like, or what do you want to do? And that can be a lot. And I try to ask them questions so that they're the
Yeah.
ones doing the most talking. But in just like simple one-on-one conversations, and I don't always do my part to continue that relationship, but even just a one-time conversation for me has proven to be beneficial enough to expose me to different ideas that I hadn't considered before. Like I remember speaking to an attorney one time who was in the process of, leaving her firm to start her practice. And I was talking to her like, oh, I can never see myself doing that. And she's like, no, no, wait, like that used to be me, but this and that. And, that conversation was like, oh, okay, like I have a different perspective of that. And I'm going to like keep it in my pocket in case, I ever want to take that route. I know it's an option for me.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for someone who is introverted like us, who is going to law school, or just because I believe that this just applies to law school or the world of law. I believe that networking is something that is applicable in any area or whatever career that you decide to kind of walk in that pathway towards. Do you have any advice for someone who struggles with connecting with people and networking that you can give?
Yeah, I think through my experience, I initially felt really discouraged because I found a hard time connecting and relating to other attorneys, whether that was because of cultural differences or just different backgrounds or whatever the reason was. And I think when I finally was able to kind of let go of that, I was able to see things a little differently. So my advice would be to not necessarily go into it with the expectation of connecting all the time. Like it's sometimes it's just gonna suck. It's just gonna, be bad. But you can be intentional with the events that you attend or the spaces you enter. And maybe you have nothing in common with a lawyer that I don't know is at your table or the group of lawyers at this event. Find something that interests you about them, like whether that's what they practice or something in their background, their school, literally anything like that interests you of this person that you feel comfortable asking them about and, talking to them about. I think as a law student, it's really intimidating, but, and I didn't believe it. Like when people would say, like, that's when you want to go and network and meet all these people. But it's true, like a lot of lawyers like talking to law students. And I just see it as like making conversations. And if you're really like introverted and anxious, I just wouldn't expect to feel comfortable. I know that I never really do. I just have my way of kind of masking that. My go-to actually is depending on the event. If there's drinks, I'll go and I'll get a drink. And I try to always have a drink in my hand, like whether that's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, whatever your choice. But I try to always keep one in my hand so that it keeps my hands busy and I look like I'm enjoying myself, like I look like I'm comfortable instead of just fidgeting with my hands. For me, that's a big one that has calmed me down a lot when talking to people.
But yeah, that's great advice. Great advice. Even having something to drink to sip on,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so that the conversation doesn't get awkward.
Yeah.
Doesn't
And
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, because you mentioned awkward, and I'm like, I've been in a lot of those spaces. It's okay to also like leave a conversation. And I think practicing, that used to give me so much anxiety. Like I would feel just stuck sometimes. I'm like, oh man, like I don't know how to leave this conversation, or it's just awkward. Like kind of preparing what you're gonna say, like kind of like a sign off. And like I said, I did a lot of networking my first year in San Diego. And, my sign off became like, oh, well, it was really nice talking to you. I'm going to go like over here, or I'm going to go see like who else I can find. Something that's like, thank you like for talking to me, for sharing that, or like, have a good night, whatever you want to say to kind of like signal that,
Yeah,
you're going to go on and do your thing.
that makes sense. That's great advice. I agree with that. And also, make sure you get their business card if you want to,
Mm-hmm.
because I also make it a habit in networking events to get business cards even before I leave a conversation, so that
Yeah.
I have reference attorneys for when other clients call me for other like attorneys in different areas. Because
Yeah.
I really had family members call me for at the time I was working in criminal law, call me for a business attorney, or they've been in a car accident. Like having that reference point of individuals that you can be able to reference clients or individuals to is another reason as to why I get business cards. And then again, as well, I'm also the type of person who I work better from a one-on-one standpoint. So that's another reason as to why I may connect with somebody or get somebody's cards and ask them, and if you want to. And one of the things that you can do, if you want to continue the conversation, let's say you connect with someone, you go, wow, this person's very interesting. Get their business card. Well, can I reach out to you? Can we set a meeting time later time? Usually, majority of the time, the attorney will, yeah, send me an email, send me a text. Let's send a thing. And guess what? Now you're starting to build a conversation. You started to build a connection with someone on a more comfortable space. If that is something where one-on-one individual, like having just talking to my own individual level without the noise in the crowd, that
Yeah,
comes.
exactly.
But it's bottom line, the conclusion that we're basically saying is like it's necessary. But let's switch over to talk about challenges and obstacles. Have you encountered any challenges and obstacles in your career so far? And are there any lessons? This is two-point question. Are there any lessons in the journey to Esquire that you have learned that has helped you to overcome these challenges and obstacles?
I'm like, what hasn't been challenging?
I understand. I understand.
Yeah, which I think is why Journey to Esquire impacted me like in such a positive way, because I also learned that I wasn't alone and feeling the way I was feeling and some of the challenges I was facing. And I think the biggest lesson I learned from Journey to Esquire is really to open myself up to other people. I know that's not like legally related, but for me, it allowed me to go into other spaces and share my stories and build community. I think that I had carried a lot of like just negative, I don't know how to phrase it, but just I guess negative energy from just some of the challenges that I was facing. And then once being able to kind of voice that in a space of people that could relate and, you know, sharing some of my challenges, I was able to see things differently and not be afraid to tell people that. And so the graduation presentation that we all had to do, that was the first time I really spoke so openly about my challenges in law school. And for me, I see that as the beginning. It was like a couple months later, I started a Instagram blog, and it's really grown since then. And I've been able to build a community of other law students, other lawyers, law graduates taking the bar exam. And I've mentored some of them, and others have supported me through my challenges now because I'm open and just honest about my challenges in law school with the bar exam. And now that I've been able to kind of build that space, and that has opened doors for me. I have made a lot of connections. It's another way to network. And I have been invited to, you know, like the bigger gala events, had my ticket sponsored to then go and meet other groups of people. And I'm really seeing the benefits of it now, because as a first year attorney, I'm like really struggling. And I have people that have already been having conversations with me or following me, like extending their support and their advice and, you know, whatever things they can share with me. And so I feel like Journey to Esquire just really helped me in understanding that, like, yeah, my challenges were unique to me, but at the same time, not really. You know, there's a lot of similarities in the challenges that law students and lawyers face in general.
Yeah. Wow. You have a whole blog.
I do. Yeah. What's that?
What's the name of it?
It started out as Mindful Latina because I was on this whole meditation thing, but now it's called Legally Poderosa, so legally powerful.
Yeah. Basically, if anybody's hearing this podcast and wants to go follow you, they can do it.
Yeah, and during my gap year, actually, I did this like bar prep bestie program where I took on like at least 20 other law graduates taking the bar exam, all women of different backgrounds and races and first generation. And I pretty much just did my best to support them. Like I sent them daily affirmations or, you know, got on Zoom with them if they wanted to vent or talk or just needed reassurance. And, you know, I learned that, like I said, like a lot of the challenges they were facing were just so similar, like to each other, to the first generation experience. And yeah, it was a good summer as far as that goes. I haven't been able to repeat it, but
Wow. No, what you're doing is definitely necessary because a lot is when you talk about first generation, and even if you talk about culture wise, and some of the things that we go through, even back from law school, like in terms of people from African American background, from Spanish back. What is your background?
I'm Mexican Honduran.
Mexican, Honduran.
Yeah.
You don't really see that a lot. A lot of people coming from that level of those backgrounds within the area of the field of law,
Mhm.
especially where a lot of us were the minority. That was just a reality. And so to have a space where these students can come and they can express some of the things that they're experiencing that are unique to them but are somewhat similar is definitely necessary. So I'm definitely glad that you're doing that, creating that space
Mhm.
for. But yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're basically in the process of interviewing the next class for Journey to Esquire. And do you have any advice for these next students that are coming into the program? Do you have any advice to these students as to how they should approach this program, or just advice in general that you wanted to relate to these students?
My biggest advice is to enter this program with an open mind and to be willing to participate 101%, because even the things that, like, I remember there was a legal writing workshop and I was, like, you're just kind of like, oh, I don't really feel like legal writing, like that sounds like work, right? But I was so happy that like I showed up because I learned so much, not just from the subject matter of the workshop, but also the attorneys that were being invited to speak on it. And so that's my biggest advice, is to, participate as much as you can and to take advantage of all the conversations with the attorneys that come and speak to you, or that are involved in some way. If they're there, that means they care and they want to help in whatever capacity they can help. And, you know, as much questions as you can. And I think being open about your own journey and your own challenges is a great way to build a support system, because people aren't going to know how to support you or how to help you if you're not open about that. And I think the biggest thing I walked away from Journey to Esquire was that, like, yeah, I'm a first generation and I've navigated, my whole academic experience on my own. But that's the thing, like, you don't have to do it alone. There's definitely other people that you can lean on, even if it's not your family or your classmates. Like, there's other people, and this is the space for that. And yeah, just take advantage of everything.
Absolutely. Great advice. Great advice. Give it 100%. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you coming on to the Journey to Esquire podcast, giving advice as to networking, as to the Journey to Esquire program. Can you go ahead and give the people your contact information, things that you want, or updates as to things that you're coming up that you want them to know about? But yeah, let them know what's going on that you wanted to let them know about.
Yeah, I'm mainly active on my Instagram page, which is Legally Poderosa. I also have a website to just kind of like keep everything there, legallypoderosa.com. I have my email on both of those platforms. I'm pretty open to emails and, talking to law students or pre-law students or whoever. And, if my time allows, I love getting on calls with people and, offering my support in that way. Also, lately, I've been interviewing other people, law students and attorneys, new attorneys. And I've been sharing, it's like pretty new, but I've been sharing that on YouTube, which everything is on my Instagram. But my main focus of the blog is to show my journey, but also with a focus on getting through the bar exam. So you can find me there. And I think that's it.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was nice like catching up with you and everything.
Yes. It's been a while since we went to law school together, so it's good.
I do.
This is Journey to Esquire, the podcast Alumni Updates. I'm Abigail Dean, and remember, the journey continues and success is just around the corner.